New World Order, you underestimated the people. You took a gamble and you lost.
Okay, we don't like this. Okay, well then we're going to do this. And that is just how it's going to be.
Evidence brought to light that there is a corrupt officer, or that that officer did shoot that kid on purpose.
I don't care how I look, I don't care how I sound, I don't care what the beat is. I just care the message gets across.
What's up, everyone? This is the Tin Man with the Resistance. If you're watching this, you are the Resistance. And this is in response to a video that my cousin shared. The video was initially posted by a Facebook group called the Jewish Standard. And it's a video by a young lady named Sharon Gilad. And she's a 25-year-old student of psychology and education at Ben-Gurion University. And basically what she's doing, from her point of view, is explaining to readers of her blog what is going on in Israel. And in the video, she's talking about the issue between Israel and Palestine, and she's saying that Israel is being as humane as it can. It's sending out flyers and telephone calls to Palestinian residents to evacuate their homes because those homes are going to be bombed. She's also talking about how the mainstream media, such as CNN and whatnot, are demonizing Israel and making it so that the Palestinians are the victims. Now, my issue with this is, and I'm going to make this in a response to Sharon Gilad as well, my response to this video is, one, I have never seen any of the mainstream media be anything but pro-Israel on this issue. And I'm not saying that there aren't some articles and reports out there that are against Israel from the mainstream. You know, perhaps there are. I've not personally seen them. And I spend a great deal of time researching the news and monitoring the mainstream media and cross-referencing stories. I spend a great majority of my time doing that. And I have never seen a single story that is pro-Palestine from the mainstream media. Sorry, but I've never seen it. Not saying that there aren't stories out there, because there probably are. But I'm saying I have never seen it. So, if anybody could link me something from any of these mainstream sources that is anti-Israel, pro-Palestine, I would love to see it. Link it to me, please. But back to what this young lady is saying, you know, about the issue. There's a lot of things that she's neglecting to mention here. You know, she's focusing more on the mainstream aspect of things, but she's not getting into the deeper issues here, such as the leader of Israel saying that the Israeli people are the superior race and that all other races were put on this earth to serve the Israeli Zionist Jewish people. And she doesn't touch on that at all. Which, to me, you know, having the Israeli leader say that is really a dick move on his part, and is vintage dictator tactics. It goes back to the mentality of what we know of Adolf Hitler. He believed that the Caucasians were the master race and that all other races were beneath them. You know, that's very dictator-like. And another thing that she doesn't mention, she talks about how Gaza allegedly broke the ceasefire. I wasn't there. I don't know. You can only base it on what the mainstream is telling you. I can't say who shot first after the ceasefire. But what she's neglecting to mention here is that the Palestinians versus Israel, as far as their military capability and resources, Israel completely decimates Palestine's military capabilities. So logically, it would not be a smart move for the Palestinians to open fire on a country or a state or whatever the hell you want to call Israel. It wouldn't be smart for them to open fire on somebody who has a vastly superior military force and military resources. It's just not smart. It's like shooting at somebody who has a nuke aimed at your fucking house and all you've got is a 6mm. Doesn't make a lot of sense. You know, if you got a fucking pistol and you're shooting at somebody who's got a fucking nuke aimed at your fucking head, it's not very smart. And, you know, I'm not saying anybody does or doesn't have nukes. You know, that's an entire other issue in and of itself. What I'm saying is the difference in military strength. The Palestinians are outgunned, outmatched. They wouldn't stand a fucking chance in retrospect. So it doesn't make a lot of sense. And what doesn't make a lot of sense to me and my cousin, who I am talking to on this post, she says, I don't know what mainstream media you've been listening to or watching, but she is spot on for CBS, MSNBC, CNN, etc. New York Times, other liberal print also skewed the reporting. Might want to do a little more research there, cuz, is what she says. And like I said, I do my research, and I don't see anything that is pro-Palestine coming from the mainstream media. And yes, cuz, the mainstream media does skew reporting. They always have. It's called media spin. That's no secret. But we got to dig deeper and get the real facts here. And what I'm seeing based on the facts is that Israel has been, for the most part, the aggressor here. You know, I'm not saying that the Palestinian government is without its faults. You know, because in war, everybody has their faults. But I don't believe that Israel is the victim here. And I don't believe that Christianity should be supporting Israel in this matter. One, from a Christian standpoint, Christ says turn the other cheek. You know, I'm all about, you know, defending yourself and whatnot. But it doesn't seem like Israel is so much defending itself as much as just opening a can of whoop ass on the Palestinians. Like I said, the Israeli military resources far surpass that of the Palestinians. So it's just a rape of the Palestinians at that point. It's a militarized rape. There is no way that the Palestinians could even stand toe-to-toe with Israel as far as military is concerned. It's like Mike Tyson fighting an infant. The infant would not stand a fucking chance. Okay? And Palestine, as far as military resources is concerned, is the infant in this fight. They don't have the capability to stand up against Israel. So, It is literally a fucking bombardment that Israel, this goes way beyond Israel defending itself. And another reason, going aside from the points that I've already made, why should Christianity support Israel? Aside from the points I've already made, now here's some more points, and I've addressed this many times. Christian community allegedly supports Israel because it's, quote, God's original nation. That's what God gave to the Jews after the Exodus, blah, blah, blah. So it's their homeland. It's their right from God. How can you believe that notion and support Israel when the Jewish community itself says flat out that the Jews are banned by God, not by man, but by God, from possessing their own country? They are forbidden by God to have their own country, their own state, their own land, since the ruining of the Temple of Solomon. That is in the Torah, that is in the Bible. The Jews are not allowed to possess their own country. And that's aside from the fact that high-ranking Jewish officials and rabbis are stating that Judaism is not Zionism and that Israel is a Zionist state, not a Jewish state. It is a Zionist state. You can call me anti-Semitic all you want, but the facts are the facts. Judaism and Zionism are not one and the same. And to be anti-Semitic, despite what politicians are trying to spin it as, anti-Semitism, as Connor had pointed out, is a discrimination based on language. It is a hatred of language. It has nothing to do with race. It has nothing to do with religion. It has nothing to do with location or any of that shit. It has to do with language, not a belief system or where you're from or what color your skin is. It has nothing to do with that. So, anti-Semitism out the window on that. Fact of the matter is, Judaism is not Zionism. The Jewish community as a whole has spoken on this matter. There's publications all over the freaking place. But even if Zionism and Judaism were one and the same, why would Christianity support any religion that denounces Jesus Christ? You see it all the time. The Christians stand against the Hindus, there's so many religious groups out there that they stand against that don't believe in Jesus Christ, that these people and the Christian community stand against, but yet they are standing with Israel on the Jewish prospect of things when the Jews themselves out and out reject Jesus Christ. That does not make any sense to me. Could somebody please explain that to me? Because your husband is a Baptist minister. Please, one of you explain this to me. Please. Because it makes no sense to me. You guys fight against non-Christian religions because they don't accept Jesus Christ and are therefore evil. You fight against other Christian groups such as the Mormons and the Jehovah's Witnesses because they don't believe in, at least from your perspective, don't believe in the same Jesus Christ that you do. You fight against the Muslims because you believe that they are pro-violent and that their teachings are pro-violent, even though the Bible is just as pro-violence, especially Old Testament. I mean, come on. I mean, is it just because the Jews accept the Old Testament? You know, their history is part of the Christian history as well. I mean, is that the basis of this support here? It doesn't make a lot of sense. How could you support one and denounce the other? It makes no sense to me whatsoever. So please explain this. Why do the Christians support Israel when they are being opposed by the Jewish community, and when Zionism and Judaism both do not accept Jesus Christ? And yet you guys fight against other religions who don't accept Jesus Christ, and even some religions who do accept Jesus Christ. None of that makes freaking sense to me. So please, somebody explain this to me. The comment section is there for a reason. Post your thoughts and opinions and answers in the comment section, because I want to fucking know. I really do. Because there's so much of this that does not make sense. From my perspective, Israel has been, for the most part, the aggressor here. Not saying that the Palestinian government doesn't have its faults, but facts speak for itself. Like I said, Israel far outweighs the Palestinians in military force. And this chick Sharon says that the Israeli government sends out memos and phone calls and whatnot to the Palestinians saying that you need to evacuate, that your house is going to be bombed. Why are they bombing people's houses? If this is a government versus government issue, why are the civilians being targeted? Why aren't the targets being bombed military bases or government buildings? Why are civilian homes being bombed? That makes no sense whatsoever. If this is a military fight, why are civilians' homes being bombed? That makes no sense. So please, somebody explain this shit to me, because it makes no sense. Tin Man out.